morning. Welcome to Pour Over Marketing. I almost called it New Media Lab. Welcome to Pour Over Marketing, our road trip. We are in Omaha, Nebraska. You can't tell, but that's Omaha, Nebraska right there. And we've had a heck of a trip so far. Sorry, it's going to be a little bit funny today. I'm going to be framed a little bit differently. I'm going to be a little bit quieter because there are people asleep in this house. And I'm doing it from my phone, which is going to give me a little different perspective as far as being able to read what you guys are saying. So bear with me while I figure it out. There we go, comments. And hopefully we'll see if there's anybody here. I can't tell. So, I can. Somebody just came in and is giving me a 1. So here we go. But I might not be able to change the banner that's scrolling at the bottom, so forgive me for that. So let's see, what do we want to talk about today? First thing, new glasses, new look. There's actually a very interesting observation I had about this. When we were buying our glasses, you go into the glasses place and you're looking at all the different styles. And I the last time I got glasses was the first time I got something, black and a little bit chunkier, a little bit different. And I really liked those. So this time I wanted something similar, but I thought they weren't very strong. So I tried on these. They're a little bit bigger profile, a little bit chunkier. And it was interesting. I tried all these different glasses. These were the ones that I went with. I put them on. Maeve and Molly come out of their appointment. Right away, Maeve says, "Oh my gosh, those are really cool. That looks really good on you." Molly goes, "Oh yeah, those are really cool." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I thought they looked like the other ones. I'm like, no, these are really cool. They look real, like, new and stylish. And I did want something that made a little bit more of a statement. Something that was a little bit more branded, I guess you'd say. Like leaning into this brand I have, which is beard, glasses, balding. Some brand, right? And so I was like, cool. And the reaction every time people are seeing me, not knowing I got new glasses, I'm noticing a reaction, a very positive reaction. Our friend, she opens the door. We haven't seen her in a little bit. She opens the door. She goes, "Oh my God, I love your hair." I haven't done anything to my hair, as you guys can tell. This is as good as it gets. It was the glasses. Okay. Then we go to a concert the other night, and after the concert, Molly had gone up to the stage, so we were at the back, and we went outside, or Maeve went outside, and I stood in the little entryway waiting for Molly so I could catch her on the way out. And I'm just standing there. I got my hat on, and I'm just standing there, and people coming out kept looking up at me like they thought they recognized me, or that I was somehow something attached to this. And people started thanking me for the concert. Like, "Thank you, that was a great time." Oh, great. I know it's funny, but I think it's the glasses. Here's the point. Change is good. Now, this was branding. This is when we talk about, like, brand you and changing things, that are brand you. But, well, not but. That's important. When it's brand you do want to make a statement. You want people to get the message from you. So in my case, there should be a level of authority, professor, vice president, blah, 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 right? There should be a level of authority. I also work in kind of this media / geek world. Even though I'm not doing as much in that world, I am in the media world, but in the geek world, I'm not as much. But it should reflect The brand that I'm creating should reflect that. Now, I used to wear geek branded T-shirts, things like that, that would, you know, make me podcast guy. And it was almost like when we'd go to do our live shows, it looked like I was just wearing my regular clothes, but I wasn't. I was changing before we went to be that image, right? And now I've got a different thing going. I'm leaning heavily into pour over marketing and New Media Lab and the things that we're doing there. And I should see if anyone's got any messages. I'm playing with the banners, but no comments. Uh, so I did figure out how to get comments on here and how to change my banners. So many things. Uh, so uh, you, as business owner, and whether that business is an outward business, I own a card store, I own a restaurant, or you as you, brand you, trying to trying to trying to create an image for you as whatever it is you do. So if you're like, hey, uh, I go to Comic Cons, I do panels, there should be a look to that. You should think it out. And this is something that I see a lot of. I see a lot of people, and I wasn't good at this. I wasn't always good at this. Maeve really like set me straight on how to kind of up my game. And since then, I've noticed that these little branding things, making a statement with the glasses, uh, shaving a certain way, things like that, have an effect in creating brand you. And so, like, let's say you're a panelist, you should look at like, what image do I want to portray? And this is a really interesting thing that I noticed this week as well. So I noticed the glasses had this effect. I've noticed that my clothing, wearing certain things, doing certain things, have an effect. Um, Lighting has an effect. Lighting's looks kind of rich, but it's not good lighting for this today. So sorry, guys. I got to do with what I can here. But there's beautiful Omaha right out that window. So I'll take lighting or I'll take Omaha over lighting any day, right? Uh, so anyway, uh, you want to try to outwardly present what it is you're trying to, well, quote unquote, this sell. I'm doing panels. I need to look a certain way. Am I a panelist or am I the host? How do I want to portray this? I'm leaning into my professional side where I'm more of a marketer and a public speaker. The things that I get the most attention for that could potentially, make us more money and that I really love. Well, that's what I really want to do going forward. So I have to do things like maybe instead of wearing a robe when I do this show, which I'm not, I wear something a little bit nicer. I have glasses that make a little bit more of a statement. It brands me a little bit more. I make sure that my hair, what's left of it, is not looking like a clown or like I just rolled out of bed, even though I did. And that my beard doesn't look, like Dan Haggerty. There's an old reference for you. Like there's one person here that's like, I know who Dan Haggerty is. So whatever it is you're doing, try to figure out what is that image and what is that way you portray yourself that you can project that image. An easy way to do it is look at other people in that industry, other people that do what you do. Kind of figure out what are they wearing, what are they doing. You know, uh, I was watching a couple of people this week that were doing uh, public speaking, but not like TED Talks, but more like they were talking in front of a group and they were talking about uh, podcast stuff about marketing and that. And they were in jeans, but they were kind of ill-fitting, kind of like, they look like they're from the 80s jeans that have like a little bit high waist and a little bit wide. Their shirts were tucked in and they looked uh, old, the shirts. And they had on like, and I have them too, like the shoes that you buy at Costco that are the cheaper, like the Asics ones that are cheaper, but it's like, oh, they're comfortable. They're like $20, you know. But when you're going in front of an audience, when you're trying to present to people, you shouldn't look like you do in your day to day walking down the street. Sure, I can wear my cheap stuff and look like that when I'm just bumming around. But when I'm going to go up in front of an audience, I should have, and they don't have to be pricey. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they should have style. Maybe that's what the heart of this is up your style a little bit, but lean into what your branding should be and stick with it. If my branding is I have all these different glasses and I wear different glasses each time, well, that's a choice. It doesn't have to be consistent in the same thing. My thing is I have to wear glasses, so I should have glasses that make a little bit of a statement. That like if somebody were to draw a caricature of me, it has the glasses. In fact, we did that way back when we had our zine. Uh, One of the things we did was up in the corner. We did like if you get like a Marvel Comics or DC Comics, Marvel Comics especially, they would have the issue number, the date. They would have a little drawing up in the corner, a little box. I loved that. I love that kind of branding. I think it's just so awesome. And we did that with our Disgraceland, our newsletter. But what we did was rather than change it out, we I made a little line drawing that was of Maeve and I. It was just our heads, okay? And I did it, and I wanted it to look like John Lennon when he drew himself, where it was just the little glasses and the hair, and it was just really subtle, very minimalist drawing. So I did this little drawing of the two of us, and that would go up in the corner. It had the shape of the glasses each of us wore, so that was branded, right? It was consistent. If I were to put that now, that same logo, it would not be consistent. It doesn't look like we look now. But it was stylized. Now, was the rest of what we were doing stylized? No. She was definitely much more stylized. I was frumpy wearing whatever, And in fact, it wasn't until I started being a salesman where I was called to the carpet. I was sitting here, not really, but my manager, I was out selling everybody. I was doing great. And we have our one-on-one. And she's like, I have nothing but like glowing stuff to say. She's like, you're passing everybody so fast. She goes, but you know what? Your clothes are pretty bad. And I went, what? I mean, I'm selling. And she goes, well, like your pants, there's a little tear at the bottom, and like your shirts don't fit really. Like, take care of yourself. Make yourself look like a professional. And that was the first time where I looked at it and I was like, oh, I never noticed these things. And I went over to the store and we didn't have money. So I was like, okay, I got to do it for the lowest price I could. And the thrift stores that we had gone to, I wasn't finding things. I'm too like tall and big. It's hard to find certain things in thrift stores. I do better now, and I'm better at shopping in them than I was. I'm not great, but I'm better. But I went there and I started going, there has to be a style to this. Who am I in that store? And I found this bright purple shirt, these black pants. It was very subtle. And I went, there it is. I stand out. I have created a style, an image, a brand. And I wore that a lot. And then I started wearing solid, bright colored shirts, black pants. It was almost like it was a uniform, but it didn't look like a uniform. But it was clean. It looked good. And I didn't want to be the guy in a tie. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy in that environment, right? It's kind of like with teaching. I have a certain kind of way I dress for teaching. I know it seems casual. It is what I wear every day. But I don't wear the dress down. I try to be a little above the students in dressing. I'm not going to wear the t-shirt with the shirt open over it. I'm going to wear the sweater that looks nice. I'm going to wear the shoes that are a little bit nicer. Just elevate a little. If I wear jeans, I have Mavis help me hone in on these skinny jeans that I have from Primark. They look good. They look good. They look like they fit, you know? So that branding, that you branding, you want to be consistent, but if you have multiple areas that you're showing in, maybe pay attention to that. And what I was noticing on these speakers is they were branding with the lower end, like the ill-fitting pants, the ill-fitting shirts, the out-of-date looking clothes. They didn't have anything going on stylistically with glasses or hair or anything. They don't stand out. I couldn't name one of them that I saw. I couldn't. I couldn't pick them out of a lineup. And if I was walking out of a concert, like I said earlier, I certainly wouldn't be going, thank you, because, somehow I thought they put this on. They're a face in the crowd, and you want to elevate yourself and your image a little above that. Okay, I'm going to try and change my banner here, because why not, right? Let's see. I don't want to do the buy me a coffee. I'll do the Substack, because I am leaning heavily into my Substack. You guys know that. I'm so excited with the Substack thing. I loved it this week. A friend of mine followed me on Substack, started their own Substack and followed me. I was their first follow. And I was like, that's so cool. I'm doing mainly right now, because we've been so busy, I'm mainly doing notes, but notes is where it's at to get your foot in the door and to get that thing going there. The blogging on there is great, the longer form. So I'm trying to do maybe one or two of those a week, but then every day do at least one note. And the notes are more like a Facebook post, but don't make them your Facebook posts. We went out for drinks last night. Yay! Don't do that. Make it fit the brand you have. That was the other thing that I found. Speaking of creating the image, having the branding, I found that on Substack, there is actually a place you can go in and you can change the banner for on the emails that go out. So if you follow me on Substack and I put a new Substack out, you get an email or a notification that says there's a new Substack, right? I got one from somebody I follow, and it had this cool banner at the top, and I was like, wait, are they integrating that with their, MailChimp somehow or what? No, it's in Substack, in the settings. There is a branding area where you have a certain size, you create a brand. So I created a branded image for for Pour Over Marketing, the Pour Over Marketing Substack. Once again, consistency. When we get into, I think it's July, it might be June, when Integrated Marketing Palooza starts up again, that's one of the things we're going to do is like knuckling down on what platforms are we using, how do we get a consistent look, a consistent voice. It's important. I'll tell you another one that I noticed with that, since nobody's writing here. I'm going to keep rambling. Another one I've noticed is a lot of people that do that, like they go to Facebook and they change the banner at the top of their business's page or their personal page. And the size is wrong. So there are people that watch this that I've noticed are doing the banner changes, because that's one thing, like with the publisher, I got them to start changing the banner every month so that it's just like new releases and it shows the new books that we've got coming out. And that's when I was actively kind of doing the Facebook thing. I started doing that because I'm like, look, you want to change it up. You want to make it interesting. And why not use that as a marketing ability, change that out. So I've noticed some of the people that listen here are doing that. They're starting to put banners up. But here's the thing that I'm seeing. I've also noticed people doing it and they're not sizing it right. So you can take that banner, you can put a new banner over on, if you're still using X, you can put it on X. You can put it on your LinkedIn, say. You can put it on, the various platforms. A lot of them have these banners. And now I know you can change it up on your Substack if you're active there. YouTube, you can do it too. And you don't have to change it every time, but certain platforms, like if I have a Facebook group, I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it if I have something new to say or something I'm trying to promote, right? Or I want to just change it up to make it more exciting, staying on brand. Okay. And I've noticed some people not sizing it right. So here's your pro tip. You want to be sized right because it looks unprofessional if it's not. It does. You're going to start noticing. Once you're aware of it, you're going to go, oh, that's not a professional one. This is. You're going to immediately start noticing it. So it's kind of like if you watch Netflix and they have their banner thing that goes across, and it was missized. It's a little too close. It cuts the person off here. It's not in frame the right way, and you go, "What is this image?" They have a specific size that they create the images in to make it fit. So that if, it's got a picture of Moana and she's swinging on something, you get the shot. You don't just get like Moana's armpit or like Moana kind of cut off, but you see the body and you see the water. No, you see the clear image of Moana. So whatever, if it is a headshot, it's a headshot, but it's clearly a headshot, not a weird cropped thing, right? If you don't get the sizing right, the app will do this weird cropped thing. So my pro tip is go to Google, type in social media image sizes, and you'll get like HubSpot or a marketing agency. In the past, I've done it. In fact, now that I'm saying it, maybe I'll do it before we do integrated marketing palooza. And I made a chart, or HubSpot has it. All these different places have it. uh, that tells you what the current sizes are. And I know you think, oh, what do you mean current? It changes. You will see slight differences. So, like YouTube has a certain size, and I used to make it this one certain size. Then I figured out it was a little different than that. They changed it slightly. Now it's consistent, but in the beginning it changed a little bit. Facebook, it has preferences for image images that are in posts, images that are in ads, images that are banners. You want to go with whatever the current 2025 image is. Okay, like I said, it doesn't change out all the time, but I have had years where it's like, oh, it's no longer 1400 by 600, it's 1400 by 550 is their preference, and you want to change to that. So Google social media image sizes and make sure that whatever you create fits that. You can also go in Canva. Some of them have it. So like there are some in there. So I think there's like a YouTube banner image. It's a preset image size, but it's the current one. So you can go in there, you can make your image, make it in the correct size, and then you're not going to have this weird cropped thing. This kind of stuff is fine tuning. This kind of stuff is getting your brand to look professional. Okay. I know I'm saying this and I'm slumped in a chair. It's because I'm holding this thing. It's a little different this week. That's okay. I said it's road trip. This is what road trip looks like. I think the last road trip we did, we were in Portland. I maybe did one. I did one from Minneapolis, but I did one from Portland when we were out on a deck. I had to hold the phone just like this. Paris, that might have been the one I was thinking of also. We sat Molly and I sat in front of a statue outside. I had to do it like this. This is the look of road trip. It's also got a different look, a little more, I don't want to say more casual, but a little more, hey, I'm out and about look. right? Tell you what, today I actually had an idea that I almost did. I almost did today driving around. Now, you shouldn't be talking and driving. Okay, I get that. But what I thought I would do is I was thinking of driving over. Number one, I thought about going to this coffee shop, but it's Saturday morning. We went, oh, it's probably noisy as hell when you get over there. But I was thinking about sitting in the back of a coffee shop and just recording here in Omaha. And then I was like, well, another idea is if I had plotted out an area that had, maybe an iconic sculpture or buildings that said Omaha, or like a business that, like, oh yeah, that's like, we always go to Grapefruit Records. I might sit out in front of Hollywood Candy or Grapefruit Records, and you'd see that in the background. I thought that would be kind of fun, but I hadn't scoped something out. The weather's not great, so I thought, oh, I could do something for my car. But then I thought, you know what? Sitting on the couch in our Airbnb, looking at this cool artwork behind me, looking at a window behind me, that might be more the vibe I was looking for. So what about you guys? You got questions? Anything you want to talk about? We've had a few people in here. Let me go see if I can see anything in Facebook. Because last time, no, nothing there. Interesting. Last time, or the last two times, comments weren't showing up here. They were showing up in Facebook. Okay. So if you guys have comments or questions, this is your chance. Put it in here. I want to see if it's working. Uh, One thing that we're doing that I think is important is I'm going to definitely be leaning very heavily into coaching and consulting, adding that to what I'm doing. Uh, I know that I talk about it on here occasionally, but we're going to get a little bit more aggressive with it. I'm going to start putting ads for it on some of the podcast stuff, on the newsletter. We are going to expand that for Pour Over, for New Media Lab. In fact, I might even rebrand. I love the name New Media Lab now. I love Pour Over. I think we're going to create an umbrella that goes under. Maeve and I had a long conversation in the car. I revealed last week that we're going to do this show where we basically do Catalyst. In fact, I think we're going to call it Catalyst, where we take a scenario and we talk about marketing ideas for it. The two of us. We can even bring people in, do live Substacks, do live on here with it, bring people in that can talk about it with us, and just kind of roundtable ideas. But then she had a wonderful idea. This is why you bring a partner in. She's full of ideas. Uh, we're going to be watching these marketing, like, panels, trainings from a thing called Social Media Marketing World. They have their thing coming up soon, and their big conference, and it's really, really good. They have really good speakers. It would be a dream to be able to speak at something like this. It's like doing a TED Talk, but for nerdy marketing people. I've interviewed them before. They're just great. And we're going to watch some of these and then do a discussion afterwards. Now, what's that going to look like? We're not sure. It'd be fun if it was almost like a book club, like you guys were able to watch it and we could talk about it. Or that was the other thing. We started talking about doing a book club where we take a marketing book and we do like a chapter a week along with you guys, and maybe do it on Discord. So like I pick a book or we get suggested a book that we go through. Right away, as soon as she said it, I went, oh, I know a book that we should do. The problem is you can't find it. So I think we'd have to do it as more of a lecture series where we read it and then we talk about it, but it would fill you guys in on what the book's about. It's a PR book that is like the Bible to PR people. It's so good. I've read the first half of it and I was like, it's so good, but it's old. It's hard to find. I got lucky enough. I had it in my cart forever from bookshop.org, and it was either never available, or when it would come in at like 75, $100. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And then for whatever reason, one day it popped up for like $30 and hardcover, and I was like, done. And I've not seen it pop up since. And it's so good. So I think like we'll do that. But she was saying, she goes, what if we did a book club and did a thing like that? I think that would be really great. And for you guys, I mean, how much information would you get? You know, either you read them or you don't have to read them. We're talking about them. You would get the gist. That's one thing that we discovered with me um, when we started coaching. I bought Maeve a couple of coaching books because that was like she leaned heavily into it. She got certified internationally as a coach. And she said, boy, this book is really good. You should start coaching, but you don't have to get certified. Do this. And we would go to bed and she would read a chapter of the book and then we'd talk about it. And I found, wow, I was really taking it in by having discussion. It was a little different way of learning. And I think that would be really great for this. Like if we can have a book club, if we can have this discussion of these videos or these trainings, if we can have a catalyst thing that's more grounded to you guys, and then we can have this, which is supposed to be an AMA, but lately nobody's asking questions. They must like me babbling. I'm not sure. I think it's funny. When I started this, I originally wanted to be super cash, super cash. Me sitting with my cup of coffee in my robe, just answering questions. Omaha coffee cup. That just means I found it here at this Airbnb, and it's in Omaha. Second cup of the day. I'm getting there. I lost the whole train of thought because I got sidetracked by thinking about my coffee. So what do you guys think of these ideas? Do you like these ideas? Do you want us to expand this universe? The PO, I don't want to say PU. I was going to say pour over podcast universe, but maybe the pour over universe, POU, NMLU, New Media Lab universe, or whatever it is. Do you want us to expand that? I think so. If you don't, oh wait, Gordon, there we go. I've just been listening this morning, and I like the book club idea. I'm not too keen on Discord. I've used it, but I didn't like it. I'm cool with it for the book club. Yeah, see, that's just it. I'm trying to figure out what the best way. I can tell you, Gordon, Discord is another one that I've fallen in love with when it's used right. And if you're in a group, I find it so much better than the Facebook groups if you use it right. The problem is if you're using it like a social media, no. If you're using it for a specific thing, like we're going to do a book club, it's amazing for interactivity. There was, oh, by the way, good morning, Gordon. Glad you're here. There's a podcast out of Ireland called Those Conspiracy Guys. And I interviewed Gordo for a paper I was writing. He's the host. And they do huge numbers. Huge numbers. And it was funny because at the time I was dealing with him, we talked about how they had this good YouTube presence. First, they were just a podcast. And then they figured out they could stream it live on YouTube, kind of like I'm doing with this. And their audience was really there. And then YouTube, they have so many followers that they were making money on YouTube, which it used to be a little easier to do. Now it's not that easy. And even with their numbers, they should be making a lot based on the algorithms with YouTube. But YouTube changed the whole way things worked. And all of a sudden they're like, well, they're censoring us in a way. and which they were, and they were making it so that the money we were making, we're not making it anymore. So they're making the money, we're not. And so they pulled the plug on their YouTube channel, which had like 1 million followers, and they went to Discord. And what they were doing on Discord, they had the Discord at the same time, and it wasn't really the thing. And what they did is they said, okay, we're going to have our essentially Patreon. For the Patreon members, they get a private Discord. And on Friday nights, Gordon would go on for an hour, and he'd have a Discord channel where he privately talked with the people that paid on Patreon. Now, do I have that kind of mojo? Do you have that kind of mojo? I don't know. I don't. Not yet. To actually get people to pay for Patreon and then go to Discord. Okay? But they did. And I wasn't paying for it, but because we were friends, he gave me the pass thing so I could go in and, enjoy the Discord. And it was great. It was literally, he went from having a show talking all about conspiracy stuff to this kind of casual AMA, almost exactly what I do. I would have talked to him about his branding a little bit, but whatever. But it was on Discord. And what was great is as subjects were coming up that were different, he was creating rooms where people could go in and have discussion. So, like in this case, if we're talking about integrated marketing, I would just create a room for integrated marketing, pose a question once in a while, get people talking. And what was great is it felt and it feels when I do it way more personal than a Facebook group. That's why I like Discord. I like how it works. Now, when I first got into it, did I like it? No, I couldn't figure out what was going on. I was not finding it to be as user intuitive as some of the others. And my biggest pet peeve is, for some reason on Discord, people like to use like these handles as opposed to their name. Now, I could use a social media one, like I use Podcast Prof Rob. Okay, rather than Rob Southgate, it's Podcast Prof Rob. But it's a picture of me, and it says that. Nobody has ever said, wait, is this you? What I get are these weird ones where people use numbers, or they have something that is so unrelated and they use an image like of a plant or of an anime character. And I'm like, we're trying to have a discussion. I have no idea who it is. That makes me a little crazy. And Discord is loaded with that. Like people that are professional that are trying to have conversation with you, and they've got like, I'm Monkey Boy 7366661480Q. And you go, what? Oh, Dan? Yeah. Why is it a picture of Black Widow? I like Black Widow, but it says Monkey Boy. And it has all these numbers. What do they mean? I don't know. That's what I didn't like about Discord. And then the navigation of it in the beginning, when you're not used to it, is a little bit tricky. But if you join a group and the person hosting it actually like has rooms, so you can clearly go in and say, oh, I want to talk about this. It's really great. I've also seen people use it, and this is something I think is really interesting, to like you can play a game like a D&D game on Discord, but through the rooms. Like as opposed to like we're just going to go on and roll dice or whatever. You could do that. You could do it live. You could do that on here, right? No, it's almost like you can LARP on a Discord. So you go from room to room and you have these interactions and you do things. I think that's really exciting stuff. Once again, we go back to what the concept of New Media Lab was in the beginning. The concept is to explore these different types of media and how can we use them for marketing or to create interesting content. Right there is an interesting way to create content. I remember when we first started our network, we had a guy that was he wrote games and he had a couple of different shows that were game, like tabletop game related. And he and a buddy had come up with this idea of doing like choose your own adventure, but with YouTube. And I loved it. And I have not seen anybody do it. And I thought, this is such a cool idea. Because, at the end of your YouTube video, you can put up a thing that says, if you like this video, try this. If you like this video. And they had made a thing so that as you hit certain points in the story, you could choose A or B. You go to A, it gives you a different trajectory to the story than B. It was just really cool. To me, that's the essence of New Media Lab is what is the cool idea? And then what can we do with it? Maybe there's a teaching thing that could be done with that. Maybe there's a marketing thing where instead of like a simulation, it would be like a simulation. I do a simulation with my students. Maybe you could use something on YouTube to do that. Which one do you choose? I'm going to do more with I'm going to add, I'm going to do a newsletter and I'm going to do Facebook versus I'm going to pay for ads on Google and I'm going to put money in my SEO. And then you could see what are the results, A or B. At the end, you choose the one and it goes to a different video that talks about what the results are. That's such a cool idea. Ooh, see? The heart of New Media Lab. All right, guys. So what did we learn today? Well, we talked about branding. We talked about style. Very important. Very important. The image you're projecting with whatever it is you're trying to sell. So, Gordon, you've got your Doctor Who group. You need to have something about your look, about what you're doing that tells me every time this is our Doctor Who group. Even if it's as simple as, when our friend Chris had passed away, I did a thing where I posted, I said, everybody just take your sonic screwdriver or your phone and hold it up in a picture. And we called it Screwdrivers Up for Chris. Kind of like a 21 gun salute. It was beautiful. People were doing it. It made me cry, actually. I'm about to cry just thinking about it. But if you sonic screwdrivered, uh, when it doesn't have to be charactery. It could be if you changed all the branding so that every image of you in the group, you have Tom Baker's scarf on. Great. When you're doing a live thing, you wear the scarf, or at some point you hold the screwdriver up so that to the person casually going by, they get it. And then the style part of it. What kind of shirts do you wear? What kind of glasses? What kind of hat? What kind of whatever? Think about bands. When they first come out, they don't usually have a lot of style to them. Even if that style is they wear a t-shirt and skinny jeans, but they're consistent with it, especially per tour, per campaign. If our campaign now or our tour is this for the next year, I make sure my image is consistent. These glasses, this shirt, right? Or this type of shirt. My hair looks a certain way. You ever notice that with rock stars? They'll come back and also they have like shocking blonde hair, and you're like, what? And now that's the image you have. It tells you something about their branding. These glasses have had an effect. I'm going to keep thinking about that as I go forward. What is each piece of the style saying and doing for my brand, and where am I using it? Now, I'm going to consistently have these because I need to wear glasses, right? But when I'm doing, if I'm doing something more pop culture, maybe I'm wearing something that's more pop culture, or maybe my background is always this other thing. When I'm doing a TED Talk type thing, oh God, I wish I was doing a TED Talk. When I'm doing a presentation, what am I wearing? I have certain shoes I like to wear for those. I have a certain look I like to have. What is it you do? And I don't care what it is. If it's a restaurant, when I was working at the Chinese restaurant, they had a uniform. They had a T-shirt. She never got me a T-shirt, so I made sure I had 3 different types of black shirts, pants that I wore consistently. Same shoes, same pants, and then these 3 different. But I had this black thing with my name tag that she wanted. She was like, wear black. I'm like, okay. But I made it really consistent. And I tried to wear certain ones that I had so that it gave me a level of, it doesn't give you, let me rephrase this. It gives the illusion of authority, which it did. What are you presenting forward? What is your branding saying when people see you in your professional setting or in a setting where you're presenting something? Is it staying consistent? Is it projecting a certain image? This show is more casual. I am going to keep a certain look and feel to this show, right? I'm not going to wear a button down shirt and all that. I'm going to keep it casual because it's a morning show. When I did pour over, when I did our nighttime one, I looked a little bit different. And whenever I do that, I'm going to wear something a little bit more appropriate for that show. It's branding and it's style, and it's something you need to think about with whatever it is you're doing. And if it can tie into it, even better. I mentioned Chris. He owned a Doctor Who cafe. He always wore his blue T-shirt for the Doctor Who cafe. When we'd go out to cons, he'd wear like a Star Trek shirt or a Star Wars shirt. That's fine. You don't always have to advertise what you're doing. It made consistent, though. There's Chris. He's a big guy. He's in a nerd T-shirt. That was his thing. And then when we would do something live that was, I don't even know how to say this. There were certain things we did live, always wore his Tom Baker scarf. It was an image. It was branding. You know, think about that. What is it for you? And I don't care what your business is. You're a restaurant, you're a card shop, whatever you are, whatever it is you do, or you're trying to be an influencer. Think about influencers. What do they wear? How do they look? Think about rock stars. What do they wear? How do they look? When a band starts out, they can't afford anything, so it's all grungy. You think about Nirvana. Nirvana, when they first hit, they were wearing like ill-fitting jeans, whatever. Then their style became that grunge look with the ripped jeans and the t-shirt. But that was a style. They stayed in that. Do you think Kurt Cobain wore that 24 hours a day? No. He wore it when he performed. That was his projected image. He didn't go over to, he didn't go out for dinner with their friends dressed like that every time. I'm sure he had shirts that didn't look like a Nirvana t-shirt. You play the part, dress the part, have the style, have the branding. Okay, next week, back in Chicago, uh, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Time, pour over marketing, be there. Who knows? We might be revealing some of this new stuff. We've got so many fun things that we're starting to put together. This is like a puzzle. We're building a business out of this that is going to be exciting. 6 months from now, I'm hoping we're pumping on all cylinders and there's a lot of new fun things going on. We hope you join us. And if you have questions about Discord, I'm not great at it. I'm working on it. If you have questions about Substack, I'm getting there. About doing this, about doing anything. If you want to help achieve your dreams, you've got a project you've wanted to do and you're like, I can't seem to get from, I'm getting stuck at this point. Reach out. I coach, I consult. Okay. I have different programs we can build. We can build a specific program for you. We can do a one shot. We can do a group thing. Whatever you want to do. But reach out to me. You can email me, rob@smgpods.com. You can do it in the show notes. You can do it on Facebook. You can do it wherever you find me. Find me or find one of my shows. I get alerted for all of them and just say, hey, I'm interested in this, or message me. Whatever it is, you can find me. Okay. And I could do a free session, see if we're a good fit, take about 20 minutes. We talk out what you're trying to do. If it's a good fit, great. I'll tell you what it costs, and we'll figure out from there if there's something that'll work. If not, at least maybe I can give you a couple of answers, get you going on things. All right, everybody. You have a great day. Have a great weekend. Be productive. Have some coffee. And go market. Think about your brand. Work on your style. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks.